We're live streaming. I'm here live with Samantha Fish at the Cutting Room in New York City. She's here to blow our socks off in a few minutes.
I'm excited. I love New York.
And she's going to be playing some songs off her current album, Chills and Fever. So talk a little bit about the album and the concept behind that.
Well, Chills and Fever was recorded in Detroit last winter. It's an album of covers, kind of like 1950s, 1960s, Motown, obscure soul, blues, some really cool girl groups. You know, really they're songs that sounded like hit songs but were kind of obscure when they came out. We recorded with members of the Detroit Cobras and horn section from New Orleans, and it's just got a really soulful, rock and roll, edgy kind of vibe.
And I've heard the album. I love it. I'm like, yes. So kick-ass. And then I was just listening today to another album that you have coming out in the fall. So tell us about that.
That one's called Belle of the West. And it's coming out this fall. Another kind of regional concept record. We went to Mississippi to Luther Dickinson's, Jim Dickinson's Zebra Ranch studio. Luther produced it. Jimbo Mathis played on it. Lightning Malcolm. Lily Mae plays fiddle in Jack's White Band and has a solo album out. They all kind of guested on this record, and we did this beautiful, sentimental, personal, semi-acoustic songwriters record.
Wow, so two kind of different concepts there. We're seeing multiple sides of you.
Yes, I figured like 2017 is the year to do it.
So, I mean, that's a lot of content to put out in a year. So how did that come about that they were both going to be out this year?
Well, we recorded Belle of the West about a year and a half ago. And then it just, as the year progressed, it felt like, we need to put out a really rockin' record. So Chills and Fever got put in, beforehand. But then I felt so attached to both albums. I mean, I wanted to release them both. So, and why not? Why not?
Yeah, there's no rules.
There's no rules. There's no rules.
So I was watching you at Soundcheck earlier tonight and noting your very cool gear. So tell us about your setup and your guitars and what your amp is and the whole deal.
Okay. It's a long story. I got a Category 5 amplifier. I kind of run one through the other. I've got a few different setups right now. My favorite setup is the Andrew, which is like 40 to 50 watt tube amp, and I just kind of run one combo through the other as auxiliary speakers. I've got a Delaney signature model guitar, which is kind of like a thin line Telecaster. I've got two of those with humbuckers, and a Gibson SG, another Delaney, which is like a 512, but it's sort of like a 339. A Jaguar. I've got a Taylor Koa CE24. Yeah, I like those. And then a bunch of cigar boxes. I got a cigar box guitar, which is just sort of my, thrash about thing.
Are you going to be playing all those tonight?
Yeah, I'm playing every single one. Every single one.
That's really fun. I can't wait to see that. So, tell me, I look at you playing and singing, and you're, I think of you now as a role model for other young women maybe thinking about getting into this field. Who inspired you?
Well, I had guitar heroes when I was a teenager. I was super heavy into like Angus Young and Mike Campbell, Keith Richards, and then Stevie Ray Vaughan. But then when I found blues players, I really kind of dug my teeth into R.L. Burnside, Junior Kimber. I think because I had that same kind of raw rock and roll, swagger and attitude. And it was very, to me, it's like the rawest, realest blues. So that was very inspiring for me. I grew up listening to a lot of songwriters. My parents were heavy into John Hyatt and Tom Waits and Leonard Cohen. So I got all these kind of like weird, eclectic things going on songwriting-wise. And, singers, I fell in love with soul singers. I was big into Ray Charles, Aretha Franklin, and Etta James. All the greats, and then finding the obscure ones off of that.
Cool. And so when you think about, your guitar tone and all that gear you have, like, sort of what influenced that side of you?
Just kind of like stretching out and finding new sounds. I love, there's some really incredible contemporary players, like Jack White's one of my favorite guys out there now. He really is inventive in the way he approaches guitar, and he finds cool tones and textures. And, I just kind of find what sounds good to my ears, and, it's a selfish way of playing, but I don't know. I kind of find what I feel comfortable with and then roll with it.
So you're touring all over. You're playing here in New York. What do we have to look forward to from you? I mean, you've got your new album coming out. There's a lot.
Just lots of touring and putting out albums. I know we're going to be doing a lot of dates coming up in the summer and fall, and continuing on to the winter time, and hopefully next year we'll be looking. It's going to be a while because we're going to be working these albums out, in different variations of the band, and I've got a new 6-piece band I put on the road this year, which is different from the trio most people have seen me with. So bigger band, more fun, more dynamic.
Well, that sounds fantastic. So tell everybody out there where they can find out about you.
SamanthaFish.com. You can find me on my website. You can find me on Facebook or Twitter, Instagram. I'm all over the web. Or just Google me. Google's easy.
All right, Samantha Fish, thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you play in a few minutes.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're signing off. Thanks.